Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your life path reading for 2022. Can you believe we are here already? So before we get into it, this first part of the reading is always, it's an overview. So what we're going to be looking at is 2022 as a 6-year. This is really important context because it's going to tell you how the year is likely to go in its trends, its themes, the energies that we're likely to experience. And that provides an important context and a backdrop for how we're all going to be experiencing this in, or rather, through the context of the universal year. But more importantly, how that energy is going to play out for us really speaks to how we experience our personal year. So that in itself as well is just as important. I will put a link for those personal year videos in the I'll put one in the description and I'll put one on the little thing floating above my head so that you can get even more into it. But like I said, this part, don't skip it. It's really important that you get an idea of what we're going to be dealing with. And I will be going very in depth this time round. So let's get straight into it. So 2022 is a 6-year, as you now know. 6 is actually the number that is ruled by Venus. So we can definitely say that 2022 is going to be a much easier, a much slower paced year. It's going to be a much calmer year. What I will say as well, 2021 saw us, we kind of experienced a lot of change, right? A lot of upheaval, lots of sharp turns, lots of twists and turns, lots of surprises. It did see a lot of advances in technology, which I talked about. It did see a lot of advances in cryptocurrency, which I talked about in the 2020 videos, right? In the videos for 2021. So it's great to see that this kind of tracks. Now, in terms of the universal year being the number 6, it is tended towards like a slower pace. It's more focused, it's more connected. It's a lot less erratic as well, which is great for all of us, especially those of us that are already naturally a little bit erratic. It's going to be a year that is directed more towards altruism, a year that's directed more to support, to connection, to balance, harmony. It's definitely going to be a year where people really start to consider their own personal impact on things. So we're going to see this energy of accountability is going to start to become a really big or really powerful theme throughout 2022. Now that accountability isn't just going to be for us on the microcosmic level, it's going to be for all of us on the macrocosmic level as well. So this is going to be about governments, this is going to be about people that are in charge, people that are heads of companies, heads of state, etc. There's going to be a lot more of people expecting others to be accountable for their actions and, more importantly, for their impact on the wider world. So as always, I've got my trusty notes here, so if I'm looking away, that's where I am. All right, so in a way, the buzzword for this number 6 year is responsibility. It's one of the biggest words that comes up for the energy of the number 6, right? So it's going to come sharply into focus for all of us in some way, shape or form. Who are we responsible for? Who are we responsible to? And more importantly, how do we meet those requirements? How is it that we really show up for what and who we are responsible for? And how do we play our part, right? Whether for the good or for the ill, as they say. So some of the considerations that are going to come up with this year, and these are definitely not, like, it's not just limited to the things that I mentioned. You'll see many trends and themes evolve over the year, but these are the ones that I've really honed in on because I kind of feel like these are going to be like they're going to be like the structure or the skeleton of the year that really kind of shows people, right, okay, this is where we're at. So domestic life, when it comes to your home, its contents, everybody that lives within, so people that you live with or, people that you want to live with. How can you get the most out of your home? How can you improve your home? There's going to be a lot of decorating, interior design is really going to take off this year or become a lot more prominent. People, doing more development on their homes. So that whole thing about construction of new homes, definitely going to be a theme throughout this year. The materials that we need in order to construct homes is also going to be a challenge over the course of this year. It's a continuation in a sense, yes, but these things are really going to be highlighted. How can you make your home look and feel better for yourself or for the people that are dwelling inside with you? what can you do to make your home a sanctuary, right? Because your house is what keeps you safe from the elements. It's what helps you shut the world outside out when you need to. It's supposed to be a sanctuary. It's supposed to be warm, you know, to be a place where all of your needs can be met regardless of what's happening. And I think a lot of people are really going to tap into that this year. Home, the hearth, the family, familial ties and connections, whether these are familial ties and connections that you choose or whether they're familial ties and connections that you're born to, is kind of going to be irrelevant this year. It's going to be all about how do we connect? How do we, you know, bring more of that connection in? These things are going to be more important than ever, so I do feel like those things will definitely expand. So on the wider world stage, this is likely to translate to a housing crisis. It might also be that we start to get more conscious of how can we eliminate the problem of homelessness. We might see a big drive towards how we can start to improve, you know, living life for people. It's ridiculous. It's just, sorry, excuse my language, but it's effing ridiculous that in 2022 we still have homeless people. It's just unfathomable. It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. Okay, rant over. Reining it in. All right, so this whole thing about, again, right, this disparity between wealth and, you know, the super wealthy and all the rest of it. Not only are we going to see more of a divide, but we're going to start to see more calls to action to shrinking that divide, to making things more equal, to making things more balanced. Remember, this number is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about balance. It's all about harmony. It's all about smoothing off the rough edges. So it's probably going to see us highlighting what we can do for those that are homeless in some way, shape or form. So another thing that I've got here as well is cleanliness. So I believe that over the course of this year, we're going to see a much more, we're going to be more focused on cleanliness, and how that can be a part of our daily routines, which I find this really interesting as well, because in ancient astrology, Demetra George writes in one of her books that one of the things that is assigned to Aquarius is cleanliness, right? Which is really interesting to me because Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, is in the sign of Aquarius. So I found that really interesting that as soon as we had this, yes, we had the pandemic and the shutdown and the lockdown and stuff, but we also had this really, you know, powerful, stringent drive towards being more clean. Now, what I will say is what I've got here is what is clean? How do we clean? And I think this is going to see a lot of developments on the wider world stage on how we can cleanse or clean our lives, our homes and our bodies, but in ways that aren't toxic to us or the environment. So there's going to be a lot of developments on how we can work in harmony or in tandem with nature rather than fighting with it in some way, which I think is great, right? So we're probably going to see new technologies and things developed when it comes to cleanliness. I think this is going to have a lot to do with sound and frequency. I've got this really, you know, powerful hit when I was doing all of the research for this year, that these are going to be some of the ways that we really tap into this idea of cleansing ourselves, cleansing our space, cleansing our body. And remember, everything at the end of the day is vibration and frequency. So I think we're going to see a lot to do with developments on that front. We'll definitely be paying more attention to our oceans, our seas, our rivers, and our lakes. There's going to be big focus on how to clean up our water supply, because if we don't have water, it don't matter how rich, what your status, where you're from, if you ain't got water, you ain't got life, period, right? Clean water is a necessity for everybody. So there's going to be more money and attention placed on the vital waters of life. I definitely believe that. That being said, new developments in blood cleansing and vaccinations. I definitely feel 2026 is where we're going to see a massive advancement towards a cure or a vaccine for HIV and various other illnesses as well. So when it comes to healing, we're definitely going to see a big focus on this as well. A lot of the new age methods will start to really gain prominence. Now, when I say new age, what I actually mean is ancient ways of healing. herbalism, medical astrology, sound, frequency, vibration, all of those things, energy healing. We're going to see all of these things really start to come to the fore. Natural, non-toxic, non-invasive ways of healing are going to really prevail over this year. And here's the beauty of it. I don't think that this is going to pit us at odds with the medical tradition. I actually feel like we're going to start to see a dovetail. This is where we're going to start to see how can we fuse these things? How can we really find ways to integrate the two, which will be brilliant. I definitely think we're going to see an expansion of such things. Sound healing, frequency, vibrational healing will definitely come to the fore. I also think that medical science is definitely going to advance this year. Like, I really believe that. But as a result, I think we're going to see more and more of a crossover between the two. If not a global level, then at least at a grassroots level. And that grassroots level of everything is going to be very important this year, because we're going to see a lot more of that. All right, we're going to start to see less of the we're going to start to see it more on the microcosmic level, let's say. Herbalism, definitely going to be a revival. Green get together and more group healing work as well is definitely going to start to expand. So when we talk about spiritual progression, to be spiritual is to be organized and in harmony with all that surrounds you and all that you encounter. So just like its upside down counterpart, the number 6 has a natural draw towards leaving the world and people better than you find them, right? 6 is actually the number that is all about responsibility and service. It's the energy of the agony aunt or the healer or the mystic or the maintenance or the caregiver, right? So it's all about leaving things and people or even environments better than you find them. We're going to see a lot of this year and a lot of drive towards that. This energy as well can be known as the fixer energy. So it takes problems, challenges and issues, and it will lovingly and painstakingly work on them until they're dissipated or, removed altogether. It's actually a very spiritual number in that sort of sense. And because, the highest form of spirituality is to be of service to the universe in some way, shape or form. I truly believe that. Now, it's what I've put here is it's the cleansing ritual before the magic and the enchantment of the year 7, 2023 kicks in, right? So for those of you that are into this kind of thing, 6 is the year of the clearing and the cleansing of the space before you set your enchantment or your intention forth in the 7 or the spiritual sphere, all right? So it's an important aspect or a part of this that people often overlook, right? So remember, all steps are important in the process of manifesting something. You can't leave one out, and that means not leaving out the cleansing stage as well. All right, so on the wider world stage, we're definitely going to see more care towards service providers, healthcare workers and professionals, people that actually showed up for us when it really bleeping mattered. Like, we're going to see a lot more kindness and courtesy towards those people, if not from, the oligarchs and all of the hierarchical stuff, certainly from the people on the ground below. All right, so support and connection. This is a very supportive energy. It's very connective. 6 has that natural pull, that natural draw towards harmonizing things, bridging the gaps between things that maybe don't have any connection and finding a way to create one. It means as well taking form from one thing to give to another. So this may very well see. So 2020 and 2021, we saw a lot of wealth transference from the majority of the people to the minority of the people. 2022 is going to start to see the opposite. It's the way that universal law works, right? You can't have something that is unbalanced. The universe doesn't like it, just like it doesn't like a vacuum, right? So it's very, very interesting to see how this will come out. This divide between the wealthy and the poor, we're definitely going to see more of a spotlight on it. If it goes ignored, there will be a lot of noise and a relentless drive towards making it better for everybody as opposed to just a certain few. So let that be a universal warning to those those that are in charge. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a vessel. This will definitely be the starting of the community living. So lots of people have talked about this, and we know it's coming through in the astrology as well. 2022 is where we're really going to see this stuff start to happen. It's actually going to become a reality. We're going to see communities popping up left, right and center. People will be demanding more connection, more community, more sense of pulling together. If they don't get it, and it's not present in the world, then they'll just create it themselves. It will literally just be that, like, okay, well, what we want and what we need isn't being provided, so we'll do it our damn selves. And once we've done that, there's not going to be any standing in our way because we declare our own, right? So, you know, I love it. It will definitely be more about people coming together and living together as well. More sharing, more caring is the name on is the name and the number of Venus. Beauty and romance. So while this number is very practical, it's also very Venusian in a sense. It does appreciate anything and everything natural. We're going to see a draw towards more sort of neutral colors, lots more pastel colors, things that are a lot more things that are a lot more pleasing to the eye, things that are lighter, brighter and more caring. So 2021 was a lot about sort of, you know, what was really in your face and really bold and really deep and all the rest of it, whereas 2022 is going to be a lot more sort of smoother. So I've put here pastels and greens, yellows and blues. Gentle color palettes are definitely going to be way more favorable, as will gentle makeups, anything that is natural, that's kind to the skin, that's kind to the environment, that's easy to make without destroying the environment. All of this going to be to the fore. Startups that promise to be you know, kind to the environment, or to offer more in the way of you know, kindness to flora and fauna will definitely come up over the course of this year for sure. Also, the demand for more greenery, the demand for more natural feel to things, for more open spaces, more room for animals, more connection to, with and for nature is going to be to the forefront. And again, if we don't get it, people will just start to create it. People are definitely going to start walking away from cities, anywhere that's too built up, where you're living on top of each other like, you know, sardines and stuff. It's just not the way of it anymore. People want more space, more openness and more freedom where they can gather more together. And, you know, again, if they don't get it, they'll just make it themselves. They want clean, fresh, natural, open spaces that have a community or communal feel to it. There's a need or a call for more. That's where the money's going to be flowing as well. So if you're thinking about starting a business, think about all of the things that I've mentioned are going to come up over the course of this year, because this is just the seeding of it. It's not like, oh, here it's 2022 and that's all that's going to be, and, you know, then it's done. This is like literally, that's, you know, this is the chance really for you to get ahead of the next gold rush, I guess. All right, so what people will be interested in. People are going to be interested in things and people that roll up their sleeves and get stuck in and help others. The beauty is in the dirt, in the mud, in the sweat, in the beauty, in the fucking crotch of everything that you are, right? This is about getting stuck into things with the deepest aspects of yourself. It's not about surface stuff. It's about coming together. It's about really being accountable and responsible, and, you know, thinking about other people rather than just yourself. Those are going to be the things that are sexy this year. That's going to be the stuff that really gets people fired up. The elements and how they affect and change us: rain on the skin, air in the lungs, grass under your toes and in between your toes, and sand in your toes. I get really excited because I'm a hobbit at heart. You know, give me a tree to put my back to, a book, maybe some music, don't necessarily need it, but, and, you know, a wide open expanse with my toes in the grass. You got me for life. I'm happy. I don't need much. All right. We'll definitely see a lot of kickback between companies and their workers. Why? 6 is the number of the home and the hearth. And as I said to you last year, this whole idea of going back to the office, a lot of people are just done with it. They're over it. They don't want it, right? And they will continue to kind of hold back from that. So a word to companies, etc. Think about ways that you can sort of maybe create a more blended feel where people can spend more time at home and some time in the office. Because if you try to just get them to come back to this whole 9 to 5 in the grind thing, it's just not going to work. It's already started falling apart. All right, people want comfort, connection, community, and ease. That's got more weight than the high-powered career this year, right? 6 is bringing a reckoning. It really is. Okay, so Jupiter falling or moving into the sign of Pisces is directly feeding into all of this. So Jupiter is the great magnifier, the great expander, the great lord of abundance and growth, children and spiritual law. So I've said this before and I will definitely say it again. I think we're going to see a massive drive to, not drive towards, but I think we're going to see a lot of babies born in 2022 for sure. The big man of kings and universal law is what I've put here. All of it sounds wonderful for the most part, and it is. But consider this, Pisces is the 12th sign. It's a placement of a lot of politics and people that are in politics, which means we might see as well, I think we're going to see a few meteoric rises of certain politicians or people that kind of seem to come out of nowhere and all of a sudden find themselves, you know, at the top with lots of followers or really, you know, standing out in their message or in their speech. If they meet the needs and the wants and the will of the people, they will survive. If not, it will be a collective thumbs down. It's going to be more and more that the will of the people starts to rule from here on in. So again, let that be a message to those of you that are in charge. So Pisces is all things and no thing at once. It's got no boundaries. It's a double-bodied water sign. As such, it's got no boundaries, and it means that we do have quite a lot to consider in this sense, because if Jupiter expands things and Pisces has no boundaries, this is like literally an expansion of that boundlessness. So this is something to consider. It's also going to be, I talked about the huge wave of babies that might be coming in from here on in. We now see a dissolving of certain ideas and also places. The European Union might start to crumble or dissolve. Not saying it will, but just an idea. Borders between countries may also start to come down, or the lines may get very blurred. Neptune's already in Pisces, so we're going to see a lot of legalized drugs this year. And maybe in places where they haven't been before, or maybe places where it's been a little bit more taboo, etc. I think we're definitely going to see a drop in the crime rate, which I talked about in, if any of you purchased my 2022 videos, I talked a lot about this for 2022 in those. So if you've seen the sign videos, then you know I talked about this. Whatever has been hidden will come to light in powerful ways. And then finally, as Jupiter is the ruler of spiritual law, we're going to see more than a few cases of miracles, but it's also going to be vital to have your wits about you, right? It's important that you don't allow yourself to be hoodwinked this year, because there are going to be a few rises of gurus, etc. And as we drive towards more people cultivating a need for spirituality, especially as we get to 2023, it's going to be important to use your own discernment, especially for some of the stuff that we see, because we might see some weird stuff in 2022 still. You know, just be aware that that is the case. Now, I have said to everybody, building a solid spiritual practice for 2022 is going to be vital, because that spiritual practice and that spiritual work that you do in 2022 is going to offer you the life raft or the rope to get you through the murky weirdness that is going to be 2023. I make no bones about saying this, right? For those of you that have seen the webinar that I did with Heather from Astrology with Heather, we talked about the next 5 years from 2020 right through to 2025. It's going to be an interesting time for sure, but 2023 was the year that really stood out to me as being like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a really weird year, right? We're going to see some odd stuff 2022, but it will be the real weird sort of murky what the hell is going on. That will be 2023. So finally, energy medicine, witchcraft, occult things, astrology, numerology, tarot, human design, all of these systems are going to be more in demand than ever. We might see some kickback from them. Integrity is going to be everything. Those tarot readers, astrologers, numerologists, human design readers, witches, all the rest of it. The ones that have integrity will be the ones that really do well this year. Remember, Jupiter's in its home sign of Pisces. So while there'll be an expansion of these things, it will be the ones that have integrity, the ones that are on point, the ones that are not charlatans, basically, that will be the ones that continue to grow, whereas everybody else will kind of fall to the wayside. And then finally, let me be clear, the age of the guru, while coming to an end, will be going out with a bang. All right, so you're going to have to see this, and I do feel that we're going to see a lot of, not a lot of, but certainly some of the bigger ones will be taking a tumble because the smoke and mirrors energy just not going to cut it this year. All in all, I think this can be a very beautiful year, maybe one that is a little bit excessive, possibly even a little bit pedantic in its energies. Remember, it is Venus ruled, so maybe the dark side is that people just want more luxury because they've been denied so many things. But it is going to be lighter, it is going to be brighter, it is going to be easier, more down to earth, and certainly better than anything we've experienced over the course of the last 3 years. With that said, stick around and we will get into your life path reading for 2022. Thank you so much. Take care and I'll see you soon. Hello, you beautiful Life Path 33 person you. Welcome to your 12-month breakdown for 2022. Let's get straight into it. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for what we're going to look at before we get into your cards, though, is how your number, the number 33, for this is for you, you Life Path 33 person, how this number is going to interact with the yearly energies and what this might mean for you. All right, so the first thing that I've got here is this is a year for you to come down from the mountain, right? You guys tend to be very spiritual. You can be somewhat detached. You are very much humanitarians. So, you know, don't get me wrong. I don't mean it in that way, but you tend to be sort of kind of a bit like Superman in Man of Steel, right? You're kind of, humanity's kind of a bit at arm's length to you guys, whereas the 11 and the 22 tend to be a bit more in the thick of it, whereas you guys are quite sort of above it. This is the year to come down from the mountain. So that, you know, hermit slash guru slash spiritual teacher that lives on top of the mountain and stays out of the melee, that is out of the count this year, right? You got to get in it. And the way that you do that is by bringing pleasure to the world, and more importantly, finding your own pleasure through the world, right? So this year, find joy and meaning and pleasure and connection in the world around you, right? This is a year for you to have fun, to keep it light-hearted, to crack dad jokes. I love a dad joke, I'm telling you. Tell a dad joke and you've got me. I jest, it's food. Alright, sorry, come on, Raf, be serious. This is a year for you to get creative, and if you already have hobbies, if you already have things that you love to do that are of a creative nature, this is going to be a great year for you. If you don't already have a hobby that is creative, or you don't do something that's creative, this is the year to do it. If you've always wanted to learn to sing, to dance, if you've always wanted to learn to play an instrument, this is the year to learn, right? And not only that, not only is this the year to learn, you'll pick it up easier than you ever would before, right? This is a wonderful vibration for that reason. spend time on the fringe this year, right? Now, you guys tend to, and it's funny because, you know, when I say that, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, you said we're all detached. And yes, that's not the fringe. The fringe is, you know, people that dress different, people that sound different, people that don't adhere to the usual standards. That is where you're going to find your magic. That's where you're going to find your tribe. That's where you're going to find your element this year, right? Everyone and anyone that does not conform to the usual standards, those are your people, right? This year you'll get so much out of them and they will get so much out of you. And this is why I say this is a year for you to be in the world instead of on it. All right, the other thing that I put here as well is spend time in the in-between, right? So this is a time for you to find ways to bridge the gap between things that might not necessarily be able to come together, right? This is the year where you discover how to mix oil and milk, right? Or oil and water. This is the year where you discover how to, you know, how to get drunk off of water, all of that kind of stuff. Like, this is a year for you to really explore the weird and wonderful and everyone that comes in that bracket, right? That is where you're going to find the magic this year, really. This year, travel, take vacations, right? And if you can't necessarily do a lot of external travel because of the, you know, the way that the world is and stuff at this moment in time, well, that's fine. Find ways then to explore the area that you live in, to explore the country that you live in, right? You can surely go on a road trip or catch a bus or a train or a coach somewhere, right? You can do all of those things. So do them, right? And do them in style. Network and connect with people from all walks of life. This could be a real game changer for you, right? The thing is, this year, if you network with people, have fun with them, make them laugh, let them make you laugh, connect with artists and vagabonds and bohemians and people that just, you know, people that live their truth, people that really exude an inner sense of knowing who they really are, right? Artists, musicians, creators, actors, dancers, singers, people that are just, you know, people that have that creative energy and element about them, because they're going to fire that up within you, and that is going to tap you into the joy of life, right? And it really is. Like, go to theaters, go and watch shows, go and watch movies, go and watch live performance, live music, live art, live music. I said live music. Live musicals, like all of that stuff can be highly favored for you this year, and you might get more out of it than you ever have, right? It might just really speak to you in a more profound way in some way, shape or form. Have fun. This is time to revel in life and its blessings, whatever that means to you, right? This is a year for you to really engage life on life's terms and have a bloody good time doing it. All right, like really just get into it. Everything and anything that makes you laugh, that makes you smile, that brings joy into your world, that's what you should be doing more of this year. And then finally, find ways to connect with people that make you smile, but find ways that connect you with people that make you and them smile, right? So this is why I say try something new, maybe try new things, pick up a different, you know, pick up a hobby, etc. Because when we try new things, there's always that, you know, bit at the beginning where we're really kind of unsure of what we do, and, you know, we feel stupid and gawky, so we kind of laugh it off. And that kind of laughter, that kind of innocent sort of, you know, yeah, I'm doing my best and, you know, it might be a bit of a mess, right? Anything that you're tapping into that kind of energy could be so great for you this year. This is why I say this is the year to come down off the mountain and remember that actually, you know what? Life and people and the world really do have so many good things in it as long as you engage with it. All right. So your blessings for this year: light-hearted, free, fun. This could be a really powerful year of insightful understandings that come, you know, not through the deep contemplation and the, you know, having to really focus and, you know, get into the depths of stuff. You don't have to do it like that this year. This year, you can do it all through fun, pleasure, and being a social butterfly. All right. So your lessons or your challenges this year: this energy, the ways that they combine can make you a little bit frivolous, could make you very much a spendthrift, right? So this year you're going to be spending money on experiences anyway. That's going to be the thing that really speaks to you this year. But I invite you to just to be conscious of the money that you're spending. Do you know what I mean? Like if you just kind of one of those people and you think, you know what, I really don't care, then fine, no worries. But just know that this energy can make you a little bit free with the money. It can make you a bit ignorant. Like, so, and the reason I say this is because you might go to the opposite extreme of like being super ultra caring about everything and altruistic to the point of where you're like, oh wow, like you're having a really bad day, I hadn't even noticed, because you're, you know, so interested in having the good and the bright and the happy experience. So, you know, a little bit of balance goes a long way. Can make you somewhat fickle this year, so you could be a little bit contrary, and that usually comes more from a place of curiosity, right? You're going to have a lot of curiosity about lots of different things this year, so that could be great too. And then finally, this can make you a little bit flaky, right? So this year you might find that maybe you overbook yourself for everything, and so you either end up being late or just not going to stuff, and it's because the diary is so full, there's so many wonderful things happening that you're like, you can't really sample them all. Be careful with that, because otherwise you can get kind of labeled as somebody that's a bit like a fair weather friend, like they say they're going to be there, but then when the good stuff hit, or the not so good stuff hits the fan, they're nowhere to be seen. All right, so for your month by month breakdown, we're going to have a look at what comes up. So you get one destiny card, one direction card per month for the year ahead. And your first card out for January, I kind of feel like this sets the tone, and it kind of gives you a hint of what's going to be happening over the course of that year. So for this, you have the Empress. That is gorgeous, right? Love this for you. So first things first as well, aside from the Empress, which is interesting because the Empress is Venus, and Venus will be retrograde in the sign of Capricorn right up to and including the 29th of January. So be aware that that energy is hanging around. We've also got Mercury going retrograde out of the sign of Aquarius back into the sign of Capricorn. So as we start this year, we're already going to have this kind of driving with the brakes on feeling. You start the year with the Empress card, which is Venus ruled. You now know that 2022 as a 6 year is also Venus ruled. So you're really tapping into this energy, right? You're really tapping into this. Life is good, life can be great, life has so many things to offer, and I'm going to enjoy each and every one of the pleasures that can be offered to me. And that's what you're all about this year, right? This year you're lighthearted and you're free, and you're just like, you know what, let me enjoy what I possibly can enjoy, because I've had, we've all had over the last 3 years, right? Enough challenges and issues to last a freaking lifetime. So this is great. All right, for specifically for January, let's get into your direction card and home in on what's going on for you. So you have this with the Queen of Swords. So a Libran person, or likely to be a Libra woman, may feature for you over the course of this month. And the reason I say that is because the Empress is Venus. Venus rules Taurus and Libra, right? Queen of Swords, an air sign woman, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. A Libran woman is very likely to feature for you in the month of January. This could be somebody that comes in that is an ally, somebody that really goes on to help you, or certainly gets you to see things from a very different perspective. What I like about this as well, because the Queen of Swords, she's about her ish, right? When she shows up, she's like, listen, I know what I'm talking about. This is somebody that's seasoned by life, right? So they're going to give you the challenge. This might be somebody that gets you to see, you know what, you're being a little bit stubborn, or maybe you're being a little bit too much of a stuck in the mud, or maybe this is somebody that highlights to you where you need to come down off the mountain, come back down to earth, get into the melee with all of us, right? Be here, be now. What I also like about this as well, it suggests that any challenges, issues or disputes that you've got running maybe in the background that you've carried into the new year with you, they're likely to come to an end or smooth off in January, which is actually quite nice. That Venus and that Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is going to start to finish things off for a lot of people. So this could actually be a very good energy for a lot of you. And then finally, because it is the Queen of Swords, for some of you that you might really decide decide that this is a time where you're going to stop fighting your history or your heritage. It's just like, you know what? Because, you know, there's this whole thing about nature versus nurture and all the rest of it. And I think sometimes you get to a point in life where you're like, I'm not going to become my parents, like at any cost. And then you realize that you kind of stop living, because then every time you do something, you're censoring or editing yourself because you don't want to be seen a certain way. This could be really you kind of saying to yourself, you know what, I'm letting that go. Like, I am who I am. And if there are elements of my parents in me, so bloody be it. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is really nice because it's like you're just chilling out. Good stuff. All right, for February. Wow, you have the Tree of Life. So I love this card. And the reason I love it is because the meaning that I've boiled this down to, it's divine intervention and assistance. This is where something either shows up for you or withholds something from you, right? In a way that kind of says to you, you know what? You might think you want that, but it's actually not your best path. This could actually be very good. This comes up with the Ace of Wands, right? This is going to be a spontaneous or a surprise. There's two ways this could show up. This could be a celebration of some sort. This could be you launching into some creative endeavor. For some of you, this could be writing books. Maybe this is launching a YouTube channel. Maybe it's that you, I don't know, start a podcast. There's so many ways that this could speak to, but there's something where you're doing something that feels really fun to you, that feels like a lot of fun, that brings a lot of happiness, that brings a lot of joy. It kind of feels like this is spontaneous though, right? It might not necessarily be something that you planned for. It may just happen. Maybe a friend rings you up and says, hey, look, I'm going to a belly dancing class tonight. Do you want to come? Right? And you end up going and you have an absolute blast. And that becomes a thing that you do now every Tuesday or Thursday night. It's just an example of how this could show up for you. It's like you stumble into something that is a lot of fun, that's a lot of joy. And because it comes through the guise of that Tree of Life energy, it suggests that this is going to be either a new part of your network that opens up, that it's likely to bring new friends, new people, new creative endeavors for a lot of you as well. It's like you're finding your voice and you're using it in a way that doesn't just impact people, but it feels like fun, right? This is just genuine enjoyment, which I really like. For March, you have the Justice card, right? So this is likely to be a time where you are either signing a contract or getting into some form of a commitment. Remember, the Justice card is where we sign on the dotted line for something, right? So this could be a month where literally a new partner comes into your life. If you're single, maybe this is, you know, for those of you that are, you know, working, employed, or have your own business. Excuse me, too much talking. This could be where you're signing a document of some sort that solidifies your next step, that maybe is the start of a new job, that maybe takes you in a new direction in some way. And this comes up with the Fool card. So again, right, you've got a lot of fresh beginning energy here. You've got a lot of new starts. You've got the Ace of Wands, right, which is, aces are all about beginnings and starts. You've got the Empress, which is fruitful endeavors, and you've got the Fool card. So March is likely to be a time where you're signing a new contract. For some of you, this could be a renegotiation of something as well. So maybe you're remortgaging your house. Maybe you're getting a better rate on your loan. Maybe you are renegotiating the terms of a contract with a client. Maybe for some of you, you're getting new responsibilities when it comes to your work, and with that, more money. There is a sense that whatever it is that you're doing, it does come, you know, there is a new contract or a new iteration of something, or even a redo, but it does come with more responsibility as well. It's not just going to be a case of, oh, you know, bam, here's everything that you asked for and that's it. It is going to require either maintenance or some sort of newfound sense of responsibility. But all in all, this first quarter of the year, the way that you come into the year is actually very nice. It's a really strong start. It suggests that you come in kind of very clear on, well, maybe not coming into the year very clear on, but certainly by the time January is done, you're very much clear on, you know what, these are the things that I want to improve in my life, and this is the direction that I now want to take things. This is where I actually feel like I can be more effective, and I want to enjoy it, right? Not only that, you don't just want to enjoy it, you want to look good doing it, right? So enjoy. So as we come into April, you've got the powerful solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus on the 30th of April. Whatever you are starting, beginning or initiating here around this time will be culminating, completing or starting to bear its fruit here in November. So just keep that in mind. And you've got the Chariot card for this, right? So it does look like there's some form of travel coming up for you in April. So this could be travel that is planned in March, because you've got the Fool card right next to the Chariot. So this could be maybe travel that straddles March coming into April. The other thing is as well, because it's the Chariot card, whatever you are putting into practice, whether this is a contract, whether it is a new job, whether it's a new business that you're starting, maybe a new commitment or a new partnership of some kind, whatever you start or initiate in March, it completes satisfactorily in April, right? So it comes good, right? Because remember, the Chariot is victory and success. And this comes up with the Four of Pentacles. So there's a financial element to this trip. Whatever this journey is that you're taking, this, for some of you, this could be about a home. For some of you, it might be about a piece of land. For some of you, this could be an application for funds, finances, or monies that you put in March comes good in April. Now, be aware that there may be a small delay in you getting the funds, right? So maybe you get approved for it, it all goes ahead. It's, you know, been a whole back and forth and you're kind of like, oh, you know, is it ever going to happen? And then you get the go ahead and yes, it happens. April comes up and you get it, but there is a slight delay. And the reason I say this is because the Four of Pentacles is a very slow moving card versus the Chariot card, which is a very fast moving card. So it feels for me like this element of driving with the brakes on. So it's like you get what you're asking for, but there's a delay in the receipt of it. All right. So, you know, all in all though, that, you know, first four months of the year are quite nice. So as we come into May, on the 16th of May, we've got a lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. We also have Mercury retrograding out of the sign of Gemini back into the sign of Taurus. So keep an eye out for that, because we're going to have a lot of Taurus energy floating around between April and May. All right. More so than usual because we've got the eclipses there. With that, you've got the Tower card. So I have said that I believe May and November are likely to be times where we see geological stuff taking place. This could be crazy weather patterns, maybe storms, possibly, you know, what I've seen is earthquakes and or a tsunami. And I really hope that I'm wrong on that front, but I wonder. Now, the Tower card comes up with the Temperance card, right? So this is a huge change of mind for you, right? This Temperance card is kind of you saying, okay, now I've got all the facts, now I've got all the understandings, I want to go in a different direction. I don't feel like you're going to have any problems with this, but I do feel like it's going to be a very sharp turn. So this is you saying, right, you know what, I want to go in this direction now. If everybody around you in May is suddenly like, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this like this? Just take a moment to consider that maybe you're making a change faster than everybody can adapt to, and that you haven't given it as much thought as you might have done. The reason I say this is I'm not saying it's a bad idea that you're changing direction on something. What I'm saying is you appear to have done it so quickly that it looks like a complete 180 overnight to everybody around you. So if you find in May you're getting a lot of kickback or you're getting a lot of questions about why you're doing what you're doing, it's because you haven't given people enough background or enough warning. It's kind of like, you know, those really annoying people that indicate just as they're turning around a corner, right? They don't bother like for the whole approach up to the turn in. They literally just start to turn and then put their indicator on. This could be kind of like that month, right? So don't be that person. And especially because this is going to be in a social sense, so you need to be aware of that. The other thing is as well, be very careful of two things in May. One, gossip. Be really careful about what you engage in, especially in the online world, because it could come back to bite you at a later date. And two, this is likely to be a time where I almost feel like we're going to see some challenges or some issues with the health sector as well. And I feel like this is going to be across the wider world stage. So a little bit more of that to come, I'm sorry to say. As we come into June, you've got the High Priestess, hidden things revealed, right? But also your own awareness, your own psychic intuition and awareness is starting to really become prominent. If you're having, especially because you've got the Temperance card close by as well, if you're having, you know, psychic dreams, prophetic dreams, you're having lucid dreams, this could be a powerful time for that. Also, May coming into June might also be a time where you're meeting a woman as a mentor. This could be somebody that you're working with, somebody that you're working alongside, somebody that's helping you develop your own gifts, whether they are psychic, spiritual, you know, emotional, whatever they might be. Like, this could be a really powerful time of heightened awareness and intuitive energy. It comes out with the King of Wands. Okay, so I stand corrected. This could also be it could be a Sagittarius male, right? So we've got the King of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, coupled with the Temperance card. This could literally be a Sagittarius male. What I will say to you is this. This might also be a time where you are... it might also be a time where you're ready to start sharing more of your gifts with the world, right? Whether this is online, whether it's through a blog, whether it's through a website, whether it's for a YouTube channel, you know, maybe it's that you set up a community or a Patreon, or, you know, like there's something here where you yourself are presenting some gift that you have, some knowledge, some wisdom that maybe you've kept hidden for a while, or maybe you've kind of felt needed to be more behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? Like there's, I don't know, there's just a sense here that you're bringing something out. Now also, because you've got this Sagittarius male here that features for you in, you know, June, excuse me, I would say that you probably want to give yourself more time, not even to vet people, but this would be a good time for you to give yourself more time to get to know people. And more importantly, this would be a good time to let people see more of you, right? A lot of the opportunities that come to you over the course of June might come through very creative, very artistic, for, you know, kinds of people. And you might find yourself kind of thrust forward in some way, shape or form that you hadn't expected. And maybe talking about some of your own gifts, which is great. So for July, you have the Faith card. So this is actually the Hierophant, but in this deck it's called Faith. This could be, I mean, certainly May right through June, right through July, has an element of faith, spirituality, has an element of something of the mystical and the magical. I wonder as well, because I talked about this, next year, in 2022, we're likely to see what I'm calling the fall of a guru. We're likely to see a lot of whatever or whoever is smoke and mirrors. 2022 is going to reveal that stuff, right? We're going to see a grand reckoning or a grand balancing of some sort. And what I believe this means is it's going to give some people the chance to come up that are really doing the work, and it's going to remove some of the people that really just know how to market very well. Shade thrown. I'll say no more. I'll get off my high horse. Now, the fact that you've got this Hierophant card here, you've got the Temperance card, you've also got the High Priestess. There is an element of spirituality here that comes up very, very strong throughout these 3 months. And I wonder if this is something that's happening on the wider world stage concurrently to you, you know, really discovering or really starting to be more open and vocal about your spiritual gifts, about your spiritual wisdom, about your spiritual understanding. You are a Life Path 33. And if you watch, even if you only watch this video, or you know, you watch videos in this kind of realm, astrology, tarot, numerology, you know, I Ching, spirituality, hermeticism, whatever it might be, then you're clearly spiritual in some way. And it looks like that's going to really start to grow, you know, from here on in. And, you know, if you're having such a social time, it looks like you can bring this to people. Don't get into the preachy energy though, all right? Just stay out of that. Let it be a dialogue. And then you've got this with the Chariot card. So for some of you, this could be trips to the Middle East. So there's a few ways this could show up. So for some of you, you could be traveling to places like Egypt, Morocco. For some of you, you could be traveling to, you know, Saudi Arabia, maybe Dubai, all of those kinds of areas. I would say that this is likely to be the places that have more of the, so maybe not so much Dubai because it's very, very new, very futuristic. But for some of you, you could be traveling to places that have a very, what's the word? Oh, come on, brain. For some of you, you could be traveling to places that have a very ancient or rich cultural history when it comes to the religious stuff. Now, and you know, the reason I say this is because this is, you know, it's places that have profound natural beauty, but they have an element of, you know, like the old cathedrals, the old cash bars, the old mosques, like all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of you could be traveling to those kinds of places in July. Another way that this might show up for some of you as well, you could be taking trips to sacred sites, Avebury, Stonehenge, Lourdes, come on brain, I'm trying to think of some others off the top of my head, you know, Mecca even for some of you, who knows, like there's just an element here that whatever travel you're doing in July, it has a very spiritual or even religious kind of element to it. For August, you have the Hanged Man, right? So taking some time here to really delve. I mean, look, this whole mid part of the month of the year is all in some way, shape or form about spirituality. Temperance card, very spiritual. High Priestess, the inner realm. The Faith card or the Hierophant card, all about religion and, you know, on the maybe more unconscious side, dogma. But certainly about religion. And then the Hanged Man, all about internal or innate spirituality. But this is also going to be a month where you are not only reassessing and reevaluating, but there's reconsiderations here on what you're doing, what you're giving, what you are, in the way that you're really being shown, right? So this might be, maybe you're paying attention to your social circle and what that's, you know, what that association says about you. It could also be a time where you're starting to see who's just a fair weather friend and who is actually one that, you know, when they say, if you need anything, call me, they actually mean it. August was going to be a month where you're really starting to get clear on who's who in that regard. So you got this with the King of Pentacles. So a Taurus, a Capricorn or a Virgo may feature for you in August. And they come on top of, so this is the second king, right? Two kings represents minor council. So you could be meeting with a spiritual mentor, guru, possibly even a priest for some of you, a rabbi, what else do they call them? Imam, you know, somebody that's got a sense of this about them. This could also be you interacting with a very practical but very creative person, an artist in some way. Be careful with finances in August because there's something very unclear with your money here. So I just want you to be very aware of that. Also, if those of you that are having things like promotions or going for new jobs, read your contract carefully because it looks like something that you're being promised either isn't there or something that you or something that is there, you know, or is going to be expected for you isn't actually being highlighted. All right, so you just want to be really, really conscious of that. There was something else that I wanted to talk about here as well. You got the Queen of Swords, you got the King of Wands, you got the King of Pentacles. I do believe out of all of the readings so far, you have the most court cards, which means this is going to be a year where there are a lot of new people coming in. There's going to be a lot of interaction between you and others. For September, you have the Moon card, but you also have the third and final Mercury retrograde of the year that will come out of the sign of Libra and back into the sign of Virgo. You've got the Moon, right? So this could be a time where not everything is as it seems, right? This might be a time where you really do need to get to grips with what you're being told, with what you're being sold, with this is a time to take off the rose tinted glasses. And I kind of feel like August is going to do this for you naturally, so it might not be such a culture shock as you get into September. It might just be an extension of, okay, this is, you know, things that I need to know now. Also, something or someone from the past may show up for you. For some of you, this could be an old lover. Right, so this could be an old partnership, an old lover, an old you know, friend with benefits, etc. Why? Moon card, past. Lovers, a lover, a partner, a relationship. Doesn't have to be on the personal level, could be platonic, so this could be an old friend. This could also be an old acquaintance, maybe it's an old colleague of some sort. I gotta be honest, because they come up with the moon card and it's underneath the Tower and the Temperance card, this feels more like a completion, right? So this, sometimes when people come back to you from the past, it's just to show you why you left that path, or why you became a different person, or why you went in a different direction. So just keep that in mind, all right? October, we have the second eclipse season beginning, 25th of October, solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, very powerful. You've got this with the Emperor, right? This is where you're really starting to change your understanding or your idea on something. And it looks like you're having to really put your foot down, right? This could be a time where you're having challenges at work with a boss. This could be a time where you're having challenges with some of your peers, with some of your supposed new friends, etc. That's not to, you know, when I say supposed new friends, what I mean is you're going to know, right? By the time you get to this point of the year, you will know who you want to be around, who you don't, who was for a season and who's for a reason. October though, you are really having to put your foot down with something. You're having to really establish, or to say something, you know, say something with your chest. You've got this with the Five of Pentacles. All right, so there is a challenge here to do with your money. And I really feel like it's something to do with this. Whatever's happening in August, keep your eyes peeled, right? You've got to stay focused. You've got to stay present, because I kind of feel like if you mess this up, you know, it's not necessarily going to be all your fault. But if you're unconscious or you're not paying attention here in August, October could end up being a moment where you're like, crap, this has cost me more than I wanted it to. Just be careful around this, around finances, around money. Anything to do with a purchase of a property, anything to do with, you know, contracts and money where you're agreeing to do work for something. October, you just want to be very, very conscious of that kind of stuff. And also, this could be an injury that a husband, a boss, or a father suffers, right? This, so look out for your hubbies, your dads, your father figures, you know, uncles that you're close to. This could be an important man to you, could end up having an accident. It doesn't look to be fatal, but it's certainly one that's going to make everybody take notice. So as we come into the bookend of this eclipse season, you've got that November 8th, you have that lunar eclipse. Not so excited about this one, have to be honest. Whatever starts, initiated, culminates, completes here. And for this you have the Lovers card, right? So this is the second time that the Lovers has come up for you. So September, whoever it is that comes back from the past, whatever, or whoever it is that comes back into your world, they'll be going again by the time we get to November. And this comes up with the Four of Wands, right? So for some of you, you could be announcing that you're moving in with somebody. Maybe for some of you, this could be you're announcing an engagement, right? Maybe you're announcing that you're getting married. I've got to be really honest with you. I don't feel like everybody is happy about this for you. Even though it's a wonderful combination of cards, with the cards that are next to it, the cards that are above it, and the cards that are up here, I just get this sense that whatever relationship, partnership, etc. you're talking about in November, there are going to be some naysayers. There are going to be some people that are like, you know what, we're not really sure about this. We don't think it's the best thing for you. We don't think this person's right for you, etc. You just want to be conscious, all right? I don't necessarily agree with that, because they're actually really nice cards, but you have to ask yourself, if everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet, you have to kind of ask yourself, is there an element or a grain of truth that I just don't want to see here? Now, that being said, for some of you as well, you could be choosing to take a vacation, and it might be a really inopportune moment, right? So I don't know, maybe somebody's just revealed that this person's had an affair in the family, and you're like, well, I'm on holiday now, so take care, I'll see you guys in about 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Could be you just deciding, like, I'm going to get out of Dodge while things kind of sort themselves out. And then for December, you have the Strength card, right? So finishing the year strong, finishing the year with actually a powerful sense of determination. It's also going to be a time where, like, December is going to see you having to really, maybe not necessarily pull rank, but you are, again, right, if you're having to set firm boundaries here in October, in December, you're having to really stay the course with something, right? You're having to really, stay on target. And it comes up with the Hierophant card. So there is a marriage here somewhere, whether this is yours or somebody else's, right? This is the second time as well that the Hierophant card has come up for you. Wherever it is that you're going in July, I wonder if you're returning there in December. I just got this feeling that this is going to be a very interesting and intriguing year that seems to take you on a zigzagging journey. And in my mind's eye, the cards have spoken. In my mind's eye, you're not going to believe this. You're just not going to believe this. In my mind's eye, when I was talking about that and I was shuffling the cards, the book that I kept seeing was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So you might find this year, you're just not going to believe it. You might find that this year takes you on a really long-winded shortcut journey. All right, so just keep that in mind. I won't spoil the book for you. For your key to the year, you have the Gate 33 and Looking Back. There's this element that of this whole story of this year where you are going on this weird and wonderful journey, but somehow you're going to end up back where you started, and it's like you're so much richer for it. So maybe you come down from the mountain, as I said, have all this wonderful interaction and all the rest of it, and then you're like, okay, you know what, I think that's enough, back to the mountain. Jokes aside, for me, the dragonfly isn't just a symbol of immortality. It's also a powerful symbol of how we bring all of our best attributes to the fore. So this year, it really is about you developing your skills and allowing those skills to be, allowing those skills to filter out from you into your environment, into the people that you come into contact with. And the fact that you saw the card jump out, right? So the fact that you've got this 33 energy, it suggests to me that you will remain true to yourself this year, 100%, but you will do that a lot more with people. All right, so that's the key to this year for you. All in all, so for your challenge months, I think probably April, just because of the delay. May is likely to be a challenge month. August, just be careful. Slightly dicey month. October, dicey month. September, a little bit kind of, all over the place. January, February, March, power months for you. I really like June, and I'm a big fan actually of November, even with its hang-ups and its hold-ups. Remaining true to yourself, asking why so many people are asking the same question from time to time is also going to be a healthy practice for you this year. But all in all, it does look like a great year. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up for you. You can get your sign video, if you haven't seen it, on the link in the description box below. And you can also check out your personal life path number for the year ahead. There's a video that will show you in the link in the description how to calculate it, and then there's another one that will take you to the playlist to see what it's got in it for you. Have an amazing year. I truly hope that it is your best yet. I wish you all of the best. Take care, and I'll see you soon.